Thank you so much, Nikunj, for that wonderful introduction. Congratulations to the speakers who spoke previously, who've spoken really well. So, my topic given by Nikunj is perforated corneal ulcers. Save the eye, save the sight. So, as you can see over here, coronavirus has had a deep impact. Sorry. So, as you can see, coronavirus has had a deep impact on all of us with so many confirmed cases and deaths across the world. It's the numbers are quite staggering, and if you go by the various regions that have been involved, every continent apart from Antarctica is involved to a great extent. If you go to the India tally, there are around around uh, 31,344,445 confirmed cases with over around approximately 4 lakh deaths that have happened in India. So the situation is quite grave, particularly due to COVID. So, and corneal transplantation has really had a big effect on all of these situations. In fact, in a matter of week, when the first lockdown was there, United States virtually came to a halt the ophthalmic care there, including elective cornea transplantation. In fact, this is 2020 March, the volume of tissue distribution became about 7% domestically and internationally 6%, and which reduced to about 4% domestically in the month of April and 1% in April. So these numbers reduced a lot, and the numbers were even lesser if you compare, if you take India's situation. So the point is that corneal perforations is an emergency. They have a variable presentation, and but the problem is that no corneal tissue has been available for the last year or so, and it really makes it challenging. One thing you need to remember is that COVID is here to stay for another year or so. It's not going to go away. So it's time to get smart over here and come up with management guidelines specific to COVID times. I changed it a bit just so that this is important, because the thing that we have to deal with is the scarcity of the corneal tissue. So we changed our protocol a little bit for the management of corneal perforation with any impending perforation. This was made by Dr. Nikunj and myself when we were working together. So any impending perforation, we did a TA-BCL, TA using cyanoacrylate glue or a multi-layered AMG. For 1 to 2 mm perforations, we went ahead with a TA plus BCA. Now the tricky situation comes in perforations which are more than 2 mm and you don't have a tissue. So then we did either we did a TA-BCL or we did an innovative technique using a surgical drape. I'll show videos of that. A TENS patch graft or a conjunctival flap as well, conjunctival pedicle flap. For larger perforations, because tissue was scarce, so we did a gentle B scan. It's ideally not indicated in perforated eyes, but we did a gentle B scan over here, and if there were any vitreous exudates, we went ahead with evisceration considering the scarcity of the tissue. And if it was normal, we did a modified Gunderson's flap. So one thing that you need to know specifically for now situations is tissue, if you get, use it judiciously and preserve the scleral rim. And this can be done, any tissue, if you're not using, you can shift it to glycerine and it can be used up to a year. I've used about 10 tissues like this and they are still stored in glycerine, 10 tissues at a time, and then we continue to use it. So coming to the first technique, this is another perforated eye. So first thing that you have to do is dry the surface and then you can apply cyanoacrylate glue. It can be applied using a 26 gauge or a 30 gauge needle like this in a drop fashion, or you can put the drop on the over surface of the cap of a needle and just touch it and then bring it out. Then it dries and then you can just put the BCL. Now this is another case where what we did use is a surgical, after drying the cornea, we used a surgical drape. Now this surgical drape is the eyelash drape that you get along with your normal drape. It was cut into size slightly around 30-40%, oversizing the size of the perforation. And immediately after the application of glue, this was the sticky side of it was put on it for it to dry. Once it was dried, another drop of glue was put and then a BCL was put. The BCL was put immediately or just about 5 seconds after the glue was put. So it was a 4-layer protection. Glue followed by drape, followed by glue, and then the BCL also sticking to the drape because of the cyanoacrylate glue. So this really made it well. This is another thing that we did is, this was a perforated ulcer, as you can see. Ideally, this would require a patch graft or an eccentric graft. So after drying, cyanoacrylate glue was applied over here. And immediately after that, or a couple of seconds later, this surgical eyelash drape, plastic drape, was put over it. And once it dried completely, then we tried to form the anterior chamber, where I went inside with a 26 gauge needle, injected air. And you can see that the air is not going across. It means that the iris is stuck to the back of this perforated side. So I made a side port, injected some OVD. You can do it under air also. But then I used the iris positive to release this iris. And there was some bleeding, obviously, because of touching of the iris. And the BSS was used to wash the AC, and followed by a full air bubble injection. So after this, another drop of glue was applied, followed by a BCL, which was just stuck to it. Again, a 4-layer protection. And if you look at the follow-up of this patient, this after the drape was applied, this patient, the surgery was done on 23rd July 2020, and 2nd September, this is what he looked like. The recently, now what we have done is the epithelialization has taken place. It has healed well. We've taken out the drape also, and he's awaiting keratoplasty. So this is another thing, that sometimes you can do this also. Instead of using the sticky part of the plastic part, you can use a corneal, you can use a cardboard part of it, the paper part of it, and just put it intrastromally in the way that I have put it. You need to remember over here, these are temporary procedures to save the eye, and these are not permanent procedures. So at that time, anything can be done. And so again, glue was applied, and after glue was applied, injected into the chamber, followed by the application of a BCL. Okay, so this is, some situations do require the sterile patch graft. So therefore, glycerine preserved scale rims can be used. So never waste any even small part of the tissue. You should not be wasting, particularly in these times. So this was a limbal taber tissue loss who underwent a sterile patch graft. The AC was formed, conjunctiva was sutured, and did patient pretty well. This is a picture courtesy Dr. Nikunj Tang. So this was a corneal perforation with a uveal prolapse, which he managed with an advanced pedicle flap, conjunctival flap. The idea over here you have to understand in such situations is, you have to not just take a conjunctiva flap. The Tiemann's is the tough structure, so you need to take it into account. So this is a modified Gunderson's flap. Ideally, such large melts, you can't do anything about it. You need to do a PK. But because tissue was not there, modified Gunderson's flap is again where you take the Tiemann's along with the conjunctiva, because conjunctiva is very fair, it is not going to hold. After a month or so, this flap retracted and centrally intact. I did well, and I eventually underwent a PK. The next technique is the Tiemann's patch graft. Remember, all of these things that you're doing, particularly a Tiemann's patch graft or a conjunctival pedicle flap, you need to oversize the graft that you're using by 40% to the size that you're going to use, to the size of the defect or the size of the perforation. So this is another case that was managed with the TABCL by Dr. Nikunj Tang. This June 2020, this looked like this, underwent a TABCL. Then it healed by September 2020, and you can see a lot of vascularization. Again, it was done, fine needle diathermy was done, the vessels regressed, and PK was done by him on October 2020. End of October, he developed a suturated infiltrate, and this was then managed accordingly. Followed by December, this looked like this, and this patient did very, very well. I just saw him about a week back also. He's doing very well. He does have an epiretinal membrane. He's a diabetic patient, so you need to be more careful in such eyes. The other eye has mild NPDR. So, but now the next plan is to do an SFIL for his visual rehabilitation. So you have to be patient, and these cases take a lot of time. So special thanks to Dr. Nikunj Tang. And just remember, vitamin for this IC, it's now time to get smart. Thank you so much.